Concept 3, graphing y equals ab to the x when a is less than 0 and b is still greater than 1. Okay, so that's the difference between this and the last video, is now our a is negative. Okay, and when our a is negative, it's going to change basically where our graph is. So we've got a bit different one, different values in there, but let's go ahead and graph this equation. Let's start with x is 0. I think that's the best place to start. Okay, so if x is 0, this is 1, which makes y a negative 9. Now, when I look at that, that is already at pretty much the limit of my graph, right? I can't go any lower than that. I want to graph points that are closer to 0 for my y value. So instead of going up to positive 1, positive 2, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to negative 1. Okay, so if x is negative 1, y is going to be 1/3. Okay, or sorry, not y is going to be 1/3, but this value is going to be 1/3. And so negative 9 times 1/3 is going to be a negative 3. So at negative 1, we have a negative 3. Okay, at negative 2, we have a negative 1. So negative 2, that would be a negative 9. Sorry, not a negative 9, but a 1/9 here. And 1/9 times negative 9 gives me negative 1. Okay, and we can kind of see our pattern. We know what our common ratio is, so really we should be able to figure it out that every time we go back 1, every time we decrease our x value, we're going to be cutting our y value in thirds. Okay, so from here it should come up to 1/3, and then it'll be 1/9, 1/27, which is real close. And you can see that these are all, getting so close to the line I can't even really graph them with any accuracy. What is good to note, though, on these, and I can draw out my graph just so you can see that that curve does look pretty similar to that last one we had. All of this part should be closer to the x-axis than this. The common ratio is still true for all of these points, right? We had 1/9, 1/27. Even though it looks like these are all basically the same, every time I go back, I am decreasing that value by 1/3. Okay, I'm multiplying it by 1/3 basically. So just because we're getting to a point where it's hard to graph and it looks like a straight line, don't forget that the decrease from -1/9, negative 9 to negative 3 is going to be the same ratio as the decrease from whatever it is at x equals -9 to x equals -10. Okay.